Hello and welcome to another CX Moment. In this broadcast, we chat with companies about what's happening with their business, their support centers, and with their customer experience. This week, we're honored to be part of the Go from CX Starter to CX Champion series based on recent research from Enterprise Strategy Group. Several of the champion best practices identified by ESG focus on tools and technology, data, and training. And so, our conversation today is going to be centered around self-service, knowledge bases, and CX automation. And we have a couple of experts for you. If you want to learn more about the research, please go ahead and check it out on Zendesk.com. We love questions, so ask them in the Q&A, and we're going to do our best to answer them all. You'll also see a short poll about 5 minutes before the broadcast ends. Please take a moment to share your feedback. Now that the logistics are out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Sarah Reed from Zendesk, and I'm joined today with Louis Ross from Plexus Worldwide and Melissa Birch, who leads self-service here at Zendesk. And if you've been with us before, you're going to notice that we're going to run a little longer than usual today. So keep asking your questions, and we'll keep answering them. All right. Melissa, Louis, it's so good to see you both.
Good morning.
Hello, everybody.
And how are you all today?
Melissa?
Yeah, doing great. I am working out of our home here in Monroe, Wisconsin, and it's fall and it's beautiful color time. So my favorite time of year. So having a great day.
And you look like you're in fall attire. And Louis, I know you're just down the street from me here in Arizona. So we are, I guess this is fall in Arizona.
You noticed it was 76 degrees this morning on my commute. So this is the time, this is why we love Arizona. So yeah, it feels great.
It is beautiful. And I have to warn everyone, I am in a new house. This is like day number 2. So I can't guarantee what's going to happen. I've definitely not worked out all the kinks here yet. So let's keep our fingers crossed in our live broadcast. But let's jump into the topic at hand. And Louis, I'm going to send this over to you right off the bat. You and I have talked about this, but what makes you so passionate about self-service?
Well, I tell you what, self-service is kind of the holy grail, right, of customer service. If you're trying to build your brand, answer customers' questions, and just provide, great service to your marketplace, self-service is the cornerstone. It's not like 10 or 15 years ago where if a customer had a question, they had to call, that 1-800 number. Remember, if you're old enough like me to remember, you bought vanity 1-800 numbers and the whole thing, people had to call. Well, now most consumers expect to go online. They probably bought online, they have an account, they log in, they have questions about their order, and they want to self-serve. And as the director of the customer service, it saves me money when they self-serve. So it's a win-win, and I'm excited to talk about it this morning.
And you just brought up something which is so funny because I too remember the 800 numbers, and I also remember when we started running out of them.
That's right. And then there were 888 and 877.
And people were so concerned and hesitant to dial anything that wasn't an 800 number. And we were like, what are we going to do? And so we all started reusing numbers, and that was a mess. And yeah, the good old days, right? Melissa, you have dedicated your entire career around self-service and proactive support. What about it gets you still all very excited about this topic?
Oh, I love self-service, one, as a consumer. So I personally always prefer to self-serve, and I know that most of us do when we can, we would prefer that. So just from a customer experience point of view, it's the channel that makes their life so much easier. But I also love it because from an internal company perspective, self-service supports your initiatives across many different parts of your company. It doesn't have to just be the mechanism you use in your support organization. We know that regardless of where our consumers are in their journey, they're going to want to use self-service resources to make great decisions about our company. And we know that it represents us for our customers and supports them as they move through that journey. So I love to be in the space where we're really touching the lives of our customers in many different aspects and ways.
And that's a beautiful story. And we're going to hear all about your experience and your expertise as we go along. Louis, I was going to ask you about the experience that self-service really provides and whether or not, in your personal opinion, it helps or hinders that customer experience. Because there's still a belief that those of us in the customer experience world provide self-service only so that we don't have to talk to you.
Yeah, you hit it. The key point I think is it's a half a step before that. I think customers know what they want, and great companies give customers what they want. If you give a customer what they want, they come back and they tell others. And so really, it starts with the channel, right? Self-service is a channel, I believe. And some people prefer that. Melissa just mentioned that. I, as a consumer, I appreciate that. But it's got to be easy too, right? If I can't find what I need via self-service, then I'm going to start looking for chat or voice, that kind of thing. But I think it really starts with what does the customer want? Do they want to call you? Do they want to go into their account, look up their order status, ask about a return or refund, and then try to be as agnostic as possible about the channel and just make it fantastic. So, for example, a phone call costs me $4.50. Okay, so that's an investment. I've got live human beings. We answer high 95, 97% of calls within 5 minutes. We're committed to that. We take that call now, it's an opportunity to build the brand, right? Maybe cross-sell, make sure they're satisfied. Did you tell your friends yet that you love our products? You really leverage that investment of $4.50 on that voice call, make it everything we can. We got to provide voice, so let's do it well. So I think if you go at it with, be the best you can in that channel, that really reduces your risk of a poor self-service experience.
That actually leads us really beautifully into a question we're getting from an audience member. And it's not specifically around self-service, but it is around that idea of channel and ensuring that the channel you're providing your support in is as great as possible. And so, Melissa, I'm going to look to you for this one. And the question is about what can you do when a customer would rather have that phone call? And in this particular instance, it's around phone versus email. And the audience member is saying that they are not a contact center in the means that they don't have the ability to accept or make phone calls. And so they have only this one channel. So what do you suggest to people when they're like, I can't get people to stop contacting me. I need them to use this channel. What do you say to them?
Well, so I would say that that's going to require you to take some really good corrective action on your knowledge base and the work that you're putting into that really robust base that you're going to need to be able to support that business model. And what my initial thought would be is to start to really harvest content based on what those particular questions that are still coming over to you from customers who are asking for more than what your self-service experience is offering. And so that's what I would do, is really, really deeply analyze what kinds of questions are coming in, and then think about how can I translate that question into content that can be really more easily used. The other thing is just to ensure that the information is searchable. So I think you have to make sure that your search experience is working really well. My personal experience is that most users search. They don't necessarily browse to find what they're looking for. And I think we spend a lot of time thinking about how we organize our content. And we just have to make sure that our search engine is working really well. So in this scenario, I would say focus on search, focus on content as your baseline, and that will take you a long way.
And so what I hear is, regardless of the channels that you do have or don't have, you should also be investing in a good search feature, a knowledge base help center for your customers. And that will also serve your agents well. And we're definitely going to talk about quite a few of those benefits. But I want to come back to you for one more quick question. And that is, what do you consider self-service channels? So outside of the typical support channels, what is your definition of self-service?
So my definition of self-service is a help center, at its core. So if you're starting from scratch, you need some sort of self-service portal that contains articles that are written and with a search capability on top. And so that's part one and sort of the baseline. And then I think as we mature over time, we add more things to our self-service channel, which can include a community space, a forum where you can encourage your customers to come talk to each other. Sometimes people wonder, is that really self-service or is it not? But we believe strongly that it is a place where our customers can come and talk to each other and help answer each other's questions. So we feel that belongs in our self-service channel mode. And then we're also exploring how to start to anticipate what customers need and become more proactive and predictive. And we're putting that motion of thinking about this in a more predictive way also in our world of self-service, because we want to get ahead and provide useful information before they need to come in and talk to us on an assisted channel.
So back what Lewis talked about at the very beginning is self-service should be that step or half step before you even consider going into any other channel. Anything you want to add to that, Lewis?
Yeah,
I saw you nodding.
So many good points there that Melissa mentioned. I think what I have said over the years is you can hire the best agents, in the world, super nice, been with your company 5 years, knows everything. But if he or she doesn't have the latest accurate information, the service is going to be bad, right? Because we all know that accurate information is required for great service. So you got to get that information to your team anyway. That's where Melissa was going, right? Is you've got to, and thank goodness, in 2020, it's all electronic. We can have an internal cloud-based knowledge base. I'm old enough, we had 3-ring binders, like 3-inch 3-ring binders, and you print everything, and the trainer worked so hard. And then,
there are still a lot of those out there, by the way.
There is another way.
Training, you open that binder and go through everything. And what happened on after 2 or 3 weeks of training, the day they hit the floor, what did we also do? We handed out the packet of updates and revisions because how many things had already changed in that 3-ring binder. No, this is page 72. Tuck that in your 3-ring binder, right? So thank goodness we live in a dynamic age where I have a knowledge-based publishing team with a manager and 3 publishers that they are literally updating, editing, archiving probably 15 to 20 articles a day. That's how the information river flows these days. And we have an approach where I tell the team, look it up, don't make it up, right? So when you get a question, even if you think you know how much shipping is in Canada, look it up. And then, I know we're going to get into a lot of these conversations, how to teach your consumers to use your knowledge base. Before I move off the point is, you've made this investment to be accurate in your call center. You have to do that. Leverage that with an external facing help center. And Zendesk makes it so easy. You can spin up an external facing FAQs help center in 1 day. It's so easy. And it's a Google world. Everyone's used to just a single search bar, put in the words, it brings up the articles, and you're off and running. So it's easier than ever to, okay, what do we want to say? How do we want to represent our brand? What do we want the agents talking about? What are we going to train them on? That's our internal knowledge base. Now let's work smart. Let's leverage that. And wow, now we've got this self-service tool out there that we can measure in all kinds of ways. And again, most of us on this call, all of us, I think, said, I'd rather go look it up first than call the company, because I don't know what the service levels are in voice. It might be a 10-minute hold. It might be closed. maybe they're East Coast, that kind of thing. I'd rather go look it up first, see if I can self-serve first before I try other channels. So it starts with that knowledge, but you got to have great knowledge. Knowledge is power. We all know that. And then all the channels use that knowledge base.
So it sounds like that effective knowledge base is what will fuel the rest of your self-service strategy.
Absolutely.
And we're getting a lot of questions about where do I start? And I mentioned the ESG research in the introduction, and according to it, over half of the customers from surveyed brands view their online help resources. So people are definitely going to the help center, they're going to the knowledge base. But most of those come from more mature CX organizations. And what we see is that CX starter brands report that only 8% of their customers use their self-service all the time. So that is signifying that something is wrong with the self-service. Customers don't know about the self-service. It hasn't been updated accordingly, or it just isn't useful, right? So what do you say to someone who is new to self-service or who is looking to make an investment? Where do they start so that it is useful and usable?
Yeah.
Melissa, toss that to you. Or actually, Louis, jump in.
I can't wait. It's so fun. I love that. I love doing this stuff because I love working smart. And to me, it's what are your top 5 or top 8 call drivers? Always start there, right? Probably 80% of your volume is the same 8 questions. So make sure you've got great answers. Again, to me, an interaction with the customer is an opportunity to represent the brand, to build the brand. You know, if you get a call and someone wants to return your product and you go, oh, here we go again. This is the 100th return call I've had today. Now we've just told my consumer that there's a high amount of people returning product, right? So I'm sorry to hear that. This act like it's rare, right? So again, write the answers you want to your top 8 call drivers. You got to do that. You got to train your agents anyway. Now, again, publish those externally so that people can search and find those. And they're consistent with what I call our chat with the company. Then there are a couple real easy tools to promote a knowledge base. When you communicate or email, order confirmation, what do you put for more questions about your order? Do you put the toll-free number or number, or do you do a link to your help center right there? That's an opportunity to build back. We teach our agents when they get a call, we train them to every call just say, because the information changes all the time, I want to be accurate. I'm going to look this up in a knowledge base. I'm curious, are you in front of your computer right now? Or are you on your cell phone? Do you want to put me on speaker? And we ask, and if they say, nope, just answer my question. Okay, I'll answer your question. I'm going to provide you great service. But a lot of people say, I am in front of my computer. And so, okay, well, I'm just looking it up where I'm going to helpcenter.plexusworldwide.com. And I literally, we have the agents look up the answer on the call and read it right from the, now that actually builds confidence in the answer the agent gives, right? Have we ever called a company and the CSR has to kind of convince themselves they're giving you the right answer? Yeah, I think that promotion's still going. Yeah, that promotion's still going. Just put in that discount code. You'll get that. What do? We end the call, we call back to get an agent with confidence, right? So confidence comes from having access to accurate information that the agent can feel confident in. We hold agents harmless. We tell them, whatever you read in the help center, the knowledge base, you're right. It's the knowledge base teams, it's the business's responsibility to have accurate information in there. That disconnect is important because the agents can't doubt the information. They're paid to take call after call, be efficient, be nice, be a problem solver, give customers what they want, build the brand. And they don't have to, if they're worried about knowledge, if it's accurate or not, now your other metrics are going to go. Maybe more than you wanted, but there's a lot to it. If you kind of break it down,
there is so much to it. But you're hitting on something that a lot of people, while they're like nodding their heads, I can hear and see the red flags, which is, oh my God, this is a lot of work. And you just described that no one is going to have confidence in your self-service and your knowledge unless it's correct. And how do I keep it correct? How do I keep it updated? Like, who does this? Melissa, how does this happen?
Well, yeah. So the way we keep it accurate and up to date is we have two primary mechanisms. The first one is that we use our agents to help us flag information that isn't correct. So, Lewis, I know that you have somewhat of a different business model potentially, where our agents are learning how to do things with our customers sometimes. And so as they learn how to do things, they recognize where our content can be improved in some way. And so we do encourage them to flag our content and say, by the way, we think this needs improvement. It could be improved for any reason. Or they can say, a customer asked me about this and it's sort of related to that. It would be great if you could add some more information there. So
and
we use
so important for tech support, right? When
Yes.
you're doing anything technical, it's
Yeah.
ensuring that that information is as concise as possible, because chances are I over here am not as technical as you, agent, are over there.
Exactly. So then we also have a model similar to Lewis's, where we have a core group of writers who are adapting the knowledge base as we go. So for instance, just last week, we had quite a large product change that occurred, and our team had to go in and evaluate and find all of the right articles and update them. So I know that seems kind of scary for those of you who are thinking about taking the plunge into self-service. Maybe just to step back, though, with everybody is to realize that everybody's business model is slightly different, and there's going to be some champions in your organization who just cannot help themselves but want to support your self-service motion. They're going to just help you. They're going to be partners with you, and you can usually rely on them, especially as you get started. If you find one of these a few champions in your business who just want to help customers in that way, give them a little bandwidth, give them just a little space, and let them find and discover what our customers your customers are asking about, and they're going to help you get the right information out there, and they're going to help you maintain that knowledge base, just because that's something that they feel super passionate about. And it's usually a fairly easy lift to get started by just finding these really super passionate people and turning them loose, giving them a tool and giving them just a little bit of space, and let them go, and they're going to deliver great things for you and your customers.
I need you to answer just a couple very tactical questions for me. Melissa, Megan wants to know, how do agents actually flag that incorrect information? Is it through Zendesk? Is it over email? Is there a form? Do I just walk up to my supervisor? Well, I can't do that anymore. Do I just Slack them and say, hey, I found an error, like fix this?
Yes, our agents are trained to do that inside Zendesk using the Knowledge Capture app. So there's just a ton of great information about that out there. But we can do all the things you just hear me describe, we do within Zendesk using the tools that we make available to our customers. So that flagging is done through the tool itself.
And then Phyllis would like to know, you can actually create a knowledge base within Zendesk? I'm new. What's it called?
It's called Guide, and we publish the customer-facing variation is called the Help Center, and that's what's visible to customers. And so the Guide tool helps you and your team write content, hit the publish button, and it's visible to your customers just like so.
All right, Lewis, another tactical question. This one is around staffing. We have several people who would like to know, all right, an agent has now flagged this content as needing to be fixed, or we're getting all these questions about one specific product. We know we need to have an article created. Who does that? Like, who's actually writing these things? Who's updating things?
Yeah, it depends on your size. And the metaphor I use a lot is it's like flying an airplane, right? If you're a little single prop plane, you're going to have a pilot and a co-pilot. That's it. If you're a 777, it's like a staff of 18 on a 777 transatlantic flight, right? So it depends on how many, your staff depends on your volume, the number of agents you have. So we're fairly large. I have about 250 agents. And so I have a dedicated knowledge-based publishing team. But I've worked at teams where I've had 5 agents. Then I wore like 6 hats, right? I was the knowledge-based manager. I was the leader of the customer service team as well. So you scale. And when you have so much volume, it just depends on your information flow, because every business has, either can be few products and we sell them online and here's our return policy and that's it. Or, we serve 12 countries. I was on a call yesterday where the gal had 21, she had a help center in 21 languages in 21 countries around the world. So obviously a lot of work, right? Translation requirements and the whole thing. So the point, don't be intimidated by that, because Melissa mentioned some really good points, which is these champions. That's the great opportunity for customer service to partner with the organization. There will be people in the organization who care about what is said about the product or the return policy or the shipping policy, those things. Find those people. I like to call them SMEs. It's a fun acronym, subject matter experts. And we have a roster of SMEs that we go to. And it's fun to tell them, hey, we look to you as and try to get one person, not a team, because you want to turn these requests and these updates to your knowledge quickly. We tell them there's a customer waiting on this answer right now. And nobody wants to make a customer wait. We all know that's bad for business. So, hey, within 4 hours or by end of business day, can you reply? And we use just Outlook internal email for this. Here's the question. How do you want us to answer this? It really builds the relationship with the organization, because now they're like, wow, my opinion matters. And I actually do care about, this product that I'm responsible to grow sales with, in my vertical, that kind of thing. So have that roster. And if you're small and you're the customer service manager, that's a great way for you. Maybe have a weekly meeting, review outstanding issues, but communicate with those people, get the answers, get it published. As you grow, hire a dedicated person, you know what I mean? And really the call center director, you've got 15 things you have to do, from workforce management to knowledge management to scheduling, all these things, right? And you just, as you grow, you just start adding people to add,
it's such a great opportunity too for high performing agents. Yeah. I remember I ran contact centers, and that's oftentimes I would look to the people within my own center, especially in those smaller centers, and say, wow, you seem to know everything about this particular topic or this particular group of products. And I would love it if you can, we're going to take you off of the support lines for an hour a day or 2 hours a day, just so you can help us craft these responses. Mm-hmm. And it's such an opportunity for those high performers to even move up in your organization. Now, Louis, you answered a couple of these questions already, but Dion is interested in how fast of a turnaround do you feel is necessary? So you mentioned 4 hours. Is that pretty much how fast you want to update that information?
Yeah. Because we know consumers, right? If we contact a company, we don't get an answer. Because if you really are disciplined, you stick to not allowing your agents to make up answers, right? To fill in holes, and you retrain to committing to, hey, Melissa, I'm glad you called. I'm Louis. I don't want to just make up an answer. We have a system to get you the answer. I'm Louis. I'm going to call you back. 4 hours is by end of day or by noon. Is kind of the max, I think, consumers. Otherwise, they'll call or chat in again. It's called fishing for an agent, right? Consumers do that, trying to get the answer they want. And so, we're not perfect, but that's the discipline we follow. And then, of course, we communicate that to internally. And again, we're not perfect, but we ask the SMEs to try to reply within that so we can meet our obligation. It also builds trust. We have a lot of subscription and repeat consumers. So the more we tell the consumer we're going to call them back, and then we do, and even an hour or two before we told them, it just builds trust in the organization. Like, wow, this is that company that actually calls you back, and it breeds satisfaction that way. So, but you have to route that quickly. There are some Zendesk tools to do that. And again, it depends on the size of your organization, if you want to use the Zendesk tool or Outlook, and how much information you're trying to get your arms around.
Yeah.
Sorry, real quick, Melissa. I mentioned this earlier, but we are going to go a little longer than usual today. Normally, we'd be wrapping up right now, but we're going to go an extra 15 minutes. We have a ton of questions still to answer. We don't get to those in the next 15 minutes. Both Louis and Melissa have offered to stick around, and so we will respond in a lightning round offline, and then we will send out our responses to everyone who's joined us today. But we're going to get to some things like bots, which is definitely a hot topic in here. So if you want to know more, we're going to stick around for that. We've also got a lot of questions about how do I convince my C-staff, convince leadership that this is necessary. All right, Melissa, back to you because I interrupted you.
I was just going to say that that turnaround time is going to be super dependent on what kinds of issues you're having. Like, Lewis, I can understand you got people going through the same things, asking questions. You want accurate information, so you're going to want quick turnaround time. Not that we don't either, or not that we don't, but sometimes it just depends on your business model, how many hours you would expect to have to get information corrected. And it also depends on how severe the issue is too. So we know that some of our content isn't used as often as others. And so we definitely prioritize those turnaround times for things that are really more heavy hitting and more important. So you'll start to decide. It's like you can't just put everything into one bucket usually. Unfortunately, it's never quite that easy. But anyway.
Great point. It's a great point because we sell consumable. People are ingesting our product, so it's critical with our product that we don't. Oh yeah, take those 3 products together. Well, let's see how it goes.
We'll get back to you in 3 weeks. It's fine. But you're both talking about something now that I'm getting quite a few questions about, and that is, how do you measure the ROI of this? Melissa, you just talked about, like, you can't consider every piece of content to be created equal. And so how do you actually decide, like, okay, my answering this is going to have a bigger outcome than my updating, this over here. So how do you know it works? What's the ROI? And what are the KPIs that you have around your self-service? I'll start with you, Melissa, and then Lewis, I'm coming straight for you.
I will try to go quick. This is always a very big topic. We could spend 2 hours on just this question. But we look at a couple things. So first of all, we look at we measure something called ticket interception. So the industry oftentimes refers to the word deflection. We think of it as not quite what we're shooting for. We want to try to intercept with the right information at the right time, and yet allow our users and customers to get in and talk to us on the things that they need to, which of course we know will happen. So we measure, though, the number of times where we're successful at offering self-service and the person who is interacting with it does not go on to create a ticket with us. So it's kind of a primary indicator for us of success. There's also a lot of terms around containment. So kind of back into this world of interception. So people measure just how frequently or how many of their users actually use self-service and actually never go on to create tickets or contact you. There's a lot, at least we have a significant population of people who are perfectly happy and satisfied with self-service resources, and they never really need to call us and talk to us. They're perfectly satisfied that way. And so I think that's another way of measuring ROI, is how much are you serving of your customer base without actually going that extra step and needing to go to the different center or contact method. So those are just a couple.
How about abandonment rates and conversion rates? How do you look at those?
So this is why I love self-service, is because it allows you to really start to think about the utilization of the knowledge base in different ways, and you can start to really slice your audience. So for instance, if you're looking through for a prospect, somebody that's not a customer using your knowledge base, how often are they using that information as they're considering and converting into your product? So Lewis, you probably have similar measures maybe. How often are they looking at information that you publish and buying and just happily going along their way? So that's what I call conversion, is using your information, successfully buying what you are selling. Abandonment is another way of thinking of it, which is how often are they coming in, and evidence is suggesting to you that by looking at their behavior, they're not successful and they're overflowing into your assisted channel. That can happen for a couple valid reasons, by the way. So you might have a sort of design. So self-service is first stop. People try, they don't succeed. You want them to get to the right channel as quickly as possible. So yes, you can definitely look through and see how often are you holding them in self-service and that they're not coming in and talking to you. Lewis, I can see you've got some exciting news for us too.
Well, I view a help center in 2020 like a toll-free number in 1985. I don't think many C-suites will disagree that you got to have a help center and an FAQ. Now, how to measure ROI? You can keep it pretty simple. As the world leader in gut health, we get a lot of questions about our product ingredients. And so we have really robust articles on ingredient labels and how the products interact and that kind of thing. And Zendesk allows you to measure the views. And when we launch a new product, just to put things in perspective, we'll have like 12 to 15,000 article views in a single day. So the simple math you could sell a C-suite would be, if I didn't have a help center and I tried to take 12,000 calls in my call center, I'd redline my service levels, right? I wouldn't be 5-hour hold times. But B, if I tried to staff up to handle all those calls, all that excitement about this new product, it would cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars in ramp-up cost with the human beings to take those phone calls. So really, it's about, hey, if they don't get the information, if your consumers, they're proving they're getting the information with 12,000 article views. If they didn't if that wasn't there, how would they get the information? Well, they'd have to call or chat with you, and so the ROI, that's one way to go at it. Another way is just, you should have an overall budget. What percentage of revenue do we spend on customer care? And then that at a high level, you take action. I already mentioned it's $4.50 to take a call. It's pennies or fractions of pennies for an article view. Obviously, the more questions I shift to self-service via the help center is going to sum over time, and I should be able to reduce my cost as a percentage of revenue over time. I always start high level with the C-suite, and then show how we're trending because of the tactics we're doing, how we're saving them money as a percentage of revenue year over year.
We have an interesting question that's come in, and I think that several people and several organizations actually feel this way, that help centers aren't sexy. Like, you think of it as an FAQ, right? It's this, it's where we just drop people into, and so we're not really excited about it. How do you turn that table and get people to say, no, this knowledge base is exciting and it is going to save us money and our customers are going to love it, and now our agents are going to be able to concentrate on more important things?
Well, I think it depends on your product, right? What's sexier than gut health and good probiome, All right. No, I think it's how you use it. It's a tool. I talk about it with the team as it's a tool in the toolbox. And when you explain to a caller, I want to be accurate. I want to provide you great service. It's okay to say on a call, I want to provide you great service. Let's look it up. And here's the information. And of course, it's got to be easy to use. Zendesk, the default is just a search bar. You can feature articles and you can do different things. But Google's popular for a reason, I say. People use it because it's simple. You type in your words and you hit enter. And, I think it's function over form. There are a lot of things you can do, and some people have done amazing build outs of their Zendesk help centers. It just depends on, where you want to take it. But out of the box, it works. And that's the critical element, I think, because like I said, customers want an answer. No customer ever called a company and said, oh, I hope this is a really long call. I hope it takes them 30 minutes to find me the answer and takes up my whole morning break. No, they want quick. They want a quick answer. They want to answer the call quick, and they want to answer the question quick. And if you got to use a knowledge base, great. Yeah, look it up. Answer my question. Everyone's in a hurry, right? We're all busy. We're all important now.
We're all multitasking too.
Yes.
All right, let's get into bots, because we're getting a lot of questions about chatbots. And so, Melissa, do you think chatbots are self-service?
Yes, we definitely think of chatbots as self-service. So no surprise, we use our answer bot, which is a tool that we do offer our customers. And we know that it helps our customers find answers to questions. It's sort of think of it as another way of asking a question, but doing it with a machine instead of a person. And sometimes people worry that's not a very personalized experience. It doesn't feel very nice necessarily, but I I think to Lewis's point, people are very eager to just find an answer to their question as easily as that they possibly can. And users are very willing to ask questions of a bot, and they do it in a very useful way because they kind of think of it as a person, but they know it isn't a person. So they ask really great full questions, which a lot of natural language searching is facilitated by that. So we definitely think of bots as part of our self-service experience because it is a delivery mechanism of information. And I know we haven't gone to this length yet, but we're planning on moving there, which is to go another level deeper, which is to help guide users through particular steps. So if you have common scenarios where this is happening and then you have to go do this, like returns, Lewis, I bet you have a go to this place and do the return. So you can get them to a place pretty easily that you need to, or to a step through a multi-step process. And we're planning on utilizing our bot for that as well.
And would you suggest that if you're a smaller organization who wants to have chat or customers really want chat, this is also a great way, having AnswerBot help intercept a few of those questions so that your agents don't get overloaded, or at least the customers can get help even quicker than sitting in a queue waiting for a live agent?
In my opinion, yes. I love the idea of being directed to information that is available that I don't have to interact with a person to do. It saves time for me, and I love it. And I think it also makes it a great experience for your agents as well, because they're not dealing with those really super repetitive questions that a bot can help with. They then can be doing more things for you. Like Lewis is a great example of, if they're going to talk to somebody, we want to maximize the effect of having them talk to us. And you want those agents of yours doing the things you want them to do, not repeating the same question over and over again, where you're not necessarily going to get the value from it. So freeze them
Lewis,
up.
Are bots the future, or where do you think the future of self-service is headed?
Yeah, for sure. We would all like voice recognition systems if they worked well. The only reason we say representative is because they don't work, right? So that's the future, obviously. And we don't have it. We don't use bot yet. It's on our roadmap. We had a lot of questions about how do I get started, that kind of thing. I think this is a good message for that group. It's just lay out your roadmap. Start simple. You got to have great service on voice, and you need great knowledge to do that. So do that. Start there. Don't worry about chat or bot or Facebook Messenger, all these things. Put it on your roadmap. Do a channel really, really well. Measure yourself and do it really well, and then grow into that. We handle 4,000 contacts a day, 7 days a week, and we don't have bot yet because I'm still trying to build things in the right order to be excellent at what we do before we take all that on. And then absolutely, it's a tool that'll work fabulously, and consumers will use it. And it's all about that experience, though. It's about giving those consumers what they want.
I love that you just said you don't have to have every channel and every feature and functionality all at the same time. Lay out that roadmap, what's best for your company, what's best for your customers, and what can you actually do really, really well at that point in time. That's such great advice, regardless of what in customer care we're actually talking about. All right, in our last couple of It is. It should be a marathon. And it needs to be a successful one where you're not like falling down in the middle of the street, unable to breathe, right? So in our last couple of seconds here, Melissa, what's your favorite self-service tip or trick that you want to share?
My favorite self-service tip is to start with what your customers are asking you about. Look at your tickets, do some diving in, ask your agents, start with those really key repetitive questions and just build on it from there. But start by looking there.
Beautiful. Lewis?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's the same. Work smart. What are your top call drivers? Be great at what you do the most of. Mm-hmm. That's the key, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. I know we didn't get to all the questions because I see them still coming in. We're going to answer them right after this, so stay tuned after the broadcast and you will get a link with all those questions, because that's it for today. Again, big thank you to Lewis and to Melissa for sharing your expertise, and thanks to everyone for sharing a moment with us. Next time on a CX Moment, we're going to talk with Simpler and Black Rifle Coffee about the importance of partnerships for reliability, scalability, and agility, all the things that your customers value. This event is also happening near Veterans Day, so we're donating $10 for every attendee to the Warriors Heart Foundation, and that's a treatment center for active duty military, veterans, and first responders, all of those suffering from PTSD or addiction and dependency. My husband is a 22-year veteran, so I am so excited about this particular event. So please tune in for that. And in the meantime, please stay connected with us and the rest of the Zendesk community. Be safe, be helpful, and we'll chat again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.